must find it. Each year, the greatest stock car pilots in America prowl the track at Darlington, South Carolina in search of speed. Here is the challenge, to run a little better than anyone has ever run before. This is the challenge of the Southern 500. Darlington is the fastest stock car track in the world. Men have made it that way. Their search for new horizons in speed has a proud and exciting history. The year 1953 came to Darlington for what promised to be the greatest stock car auto race ever run. 36,000 packed the giant raceway that year to watch as men answered the question, how fast must I go to win? What price must I pay for triumph? When the dust settled, this is the challenge of competition. The challenge that makes the most of men and cars. Records stand only to be broken. And in 1955, the fastest field ever assembled for a Southern 500 started a 55,000 fans would never forget. The largest crowd in stock car auto racing history watched the greatest show south of the Mason-Dixon line. And for the 5th consecutive year, no one was even scratched. Through the years, stock car auto racing has made the American automobile safer, faster, and more dependable. Stock car racing had been America's greatest automotive proving ground. And in 1956, almost 70,000 racing fans gathered to see a show which has grown faster than any other in America. The fans saw another spectacular. The average speed for 500 miles, a blistering 95 miles per hour. How much faster could they go? A year later, in 1957, the records were again. The speed for a single lap had been pushed to 119 in a contest that had become known as the World Series of stock car racing. The faster you go, the tougher it is. You pay for every mile an hour in mechanics' sweat and drivers' chill. Speedy Thompson flashed across the finish line, and a dream came true. For the first time, an American stock passenger automobile had raced 500 miles at an average speed better than 100 miles an hour. A new year, and again Darlington holds out a challenge. This has become a famous track, famous because of the men who've raced it, the records set and broken. And for this once-a-year event, the greatest crowd ever to see a stock car race moves into Darlington 24 hours a day. It's carnival time in Carolina. Mix a quiet South Carolina town of 6,000 with 100,000 visiting race fans, and there are the fixins for a week-long celebration. The day before the race, the quietest place in Darlington is the track. Practice and qualifications are over. Mechanics build and rebuild for the 500 miles ahead. These men take stock passenger automobiles, dismantle chassis and engine, then rebuild within the specifications of the National Association for Stock Cars. The men who ready these automobiles have the know-how to prepare a machine with enough speed, roadability, and endurance to race the toughest 500 miles in the country. Part of this know-how is choosing the fuels and accessories that can do the job. Nascar inspectors certify that every part is stock and available to the general public. Then it's up to the mechanics to select the one that can meet the toughest challenge of all. But the night before race day, all eyes are on another kind of performance. And the emphasis seems to be on streamlining. 50 of South Carolina's most beautiful belles are here to compete for the title of Miss Southern 500. A record crowd of 12,000 is on hand to help the judges select the queen of the race. Southern 500 winner Curtis Turner finds a judge's decision gets harder with every contestant. Judge Jim Arness, TV's Marshal Matt Dillon, spots the makings of a winner, and the crowd seemed to agree with him, too. Miss Royal Crown Cola, selected as one of the judges, is a beauty in her own right. All 50 contestants line the stage for the last time as the decisions of the judges are being scored. And there's the winner, 18-year-old Judy Austin from Sumter, South Carolina. Miss Southern 500 receives the victory bouquet and a kiss from Mr. Marshal Dillon himself. Here's the queen of the day, and the day is coming. Race day, and Miss Southern 500 leads the procession in the pre-race festivities. The grandstands this year hold 80,000. Police estimate that 125,000 people have poured into Darlington, and today, the gates to the raceway are jammed with eager spectators. The South Carolina Championship bands, parading on the front straightaway, sound out a Southern welcome. The password on race day at Darlington is, "Y'all come." The faces in the grandstand and infield are the faces of all America. Cars are rolled to the starting line, and once more, another page in the history of a great raceway is written. At the pole position, Ed Pagan in number 45, fastest qualifier of the first day. In the center of the first row, Fireball Roberts, number 22, fastest qualifier of the entire field. Outside front row, Joe Weatherly, number 12, teammate of former winner Curtis Turner, pilot of number 26. NASCAR national champion Buck Baker. Speedy Thompson, winner here a year ago in number 46. The parade lap begins. Once around the 1 3/8 track to gather speed for the flying start. The next time they come past this starting line, they will be traveling better than 100 miles an hour. These men and machines are not alone. They are carrying with them the hopes and dreams of mechanics and drivers who have challenged the Darlington Raceway through the years. This race, this 500-mile classic, has grown because men have always searched for the faster way around. They move into the first turn, the greatest assembly of stock car auto racing equipment ever to compete in a Southern 500. Now, through the second turn, and heading down the long backstretch. Half the pits have been placed here to give the fans in both grandstands a view of the split-second mechanical work. Into the third turn, wheeling toward the start. Cars, accessories, parts, fuels, and lubricants will all in the toughest public proving ground in America. A year's wear and tear is packed into a single afternoon. The fourth turn. Here they come. They're off. Coming off the first turn, Joe Weatherly, number 12 Ford, booms into the lead. It's Weatherly in front and building his lead as the pack moves through the second turn into the backstretch. Ed Pagan and number 45 challenges in the third turn. This is going to be a race. The crowd is on its feet as Pagan's number 45 makes a bid. Pagan's Ford grabs the lead. Field strings out, pacing themselves for the long grind ahead. Speed for the first lap is 115 miles an hour. On the backstretch, Pagan hits 120 miles an hour, but Weatherly's Ford stays in there, and moving through the fourth turn, he moves next to the leader. On the front stretch, he's fender to fender with Pagan as they overtake slower cars already one lap behind. Weatherly takes back the lead. Look at that boy run. in trouble. Don Kibberling in number 60 smashes a guardrail and spins off the high bank first turn. Fire on the track. The yellow flag warns other drivers as flame creeps along a trail of gasoline spilling from the ruptured fuel tank. Fire's under control, and safety crews work to clean the track surface of oil and fuel. The green flag again signals high speed, but the first 20 laps have been too much for some cars. A 340 horsepower Dodge with Ken Rush at the wheel is out with a blown head gasket. Pagan has put the pressure on Weatherly, and coming down the main straightaway, he noses ahead. Look at those boys race. Turner in number 26 pours on the coal in third place, with Joe Eubanks in number 6 right behind him in fourth. A car through the rail in the first turn. It's Pagan. Pagan blew a tire, smashed through the guardrail, and rolled down the 40-foot embankment. Signals from the safety crews slowed the race. Pagan's car rolled end over end after blasting through the heavy steel retaining fence, yet Pagan is unhurt. Number 45 is ready for the junk pile after a mishap at 115 miles an hour. With the field slowed by the caution flag, Joe Weatherly in number 12 gives up first place as he pits for fuel and a precautionary tire change. His crew wants to get him out again before teammate Turner, running second, can take the lead. There's the green, and Turner's number 26 comes storming out of the fourth turn to take first place. Weatherly gets away from the pits in a hurry. With 350 miles to go, it's still anybody's race. On the backstretch, Fireball Roberts eases into the pits for fuel and fresh tires. His smooth, fast pace has kept him in third place. The fastest qualifier of all 48 starters, he has kept within striking distance of the leaders without straining his car. Curtis Turner, winner in 1956, is burning up the track at 120 miles an hour. Fireball Roberts, charging back from his pit stop, turns the track at a steady 43.5 seconds, 113 miles an hour. But that's more than some cars can do. 20 feet of guardrail disappear in a cloud of dust as Eddie Gray loses control in the first turn. He's all right. Auto racing safety equipment kept him from injury. Joe Weatherly, in number 12 Ford, pits for the second time within 100 miles. His car isn't handling right. And there is his teammate, Curtis Turner. Only serious mechanical difficulty would pull both front-running team cars to the pits in the same lap. Weatherly's number 12 gets away, but his car still doesn't seem to be running right. Turner is impatient to beat on. Mechanics haven't found the trouble in his engine. There's the green flag. Time becomes even more precious now. And there goes Fireball Roberts, moving into second place. Weatherly is still leading, but Roberts is only a half a lap behind and making a bid. Suddenly, 2 tons of automobile traveling 115 miles an hour disappears from sight. An oil slick on the first turn and a missing guardrail torn out in a previous accident was a combination Jack Smith couldn't handle. Although number 47 is completely wrecked, the driver walked away. The hours of competition that make new cars old in a single afternoon are taking their toll. Less spectacular is the ordinary wear and tear of competition. Curtis Turner limps to the pit, his engine failing. Turner is a hard man with an automobile, demanding peak performance and a little more for the full 500 miles. Turner is out of the race. Fireball Roberts in second place is pushing Weatherly to a showdown. Roberts has boosted his lap speed to 118 miles an hour. Weatherly into the pits again. Does he need fuel or is it trouble? His hood is up. Roberts' pressure plus Weatherly's early laps at 120 miles an hour have been too much for the automobile. As Weatherly's pit crew worked frantically to locate the trouble, Roberts in number 22 picks up a full lap lead. Weatherly is out of the race. For some contenders, there are months of work and effort lost. Right on schedule, Roberts comes through the first turn like a familiar freight train. He's more than a full lap ahead of the competition and setting his throttle for a new 500-mile record. Battling for second place now is Junior Johnson in number 11 and Shorty Rollins in number 99. Their race isn't over. Buck Baker, former national champion and a smooth driver, eases into second place. Baker plays it safe and waits out the competition. Fireball Roberts has victory in sight. He stands on the throttle in the high bank groove. His average speed for the distance is almost 102 miles an hour. The white flag. 363 laps down and 1 to go. That's the end of the race for Herman Bean. This pit stop is the last one today, and one the fans will long remember. Roberts is wheeling through the last mile smoothly and steadily. After 4.5 hours of racing, his car is almost a year old. Fireball Roberts in a Chevrolet wins the Southern 500. Fireball stops at his pit to share the winner's glory with his crew, the men that helped make it all possible. On to the winner's circle. Fireball Roberts, last year voted NASCAR's most popular driver, is one of the 5 men who have competed in every Southern 500. He was only 20 years old when he made his start on this track and finished second. Roberts' purse is more than $13,000, the largest slice of the largest purse ever offered in stock car auto racing. His average speed for 500 miles is a new record, better than 102 miles an hour. For 500 miles, Fireball Roberts walked the tightrope. He pushed his car and himself to the ragged edge of endurance, but never beyond. As Roberts entered the winner's circle, the mechanics and drivers of other cars were already at work, correcting the mechanical failures that can be discovered only at high speed. New standards of mechanical performance, new standards of safety are set in every race. Despite action proven again, Roberts has answered for himself the challenge of the Darlington Raceway. He has set new records which will be tomorrow's challenge for all other drivers. He has proven again that Darlington is the fastest stock car racing track in America because men have made it that way. Men who have found the faster way.